I met some ferrets that do a better job than industrial robots. The road trip took me back to the East Midlands, to the county of Derbyshire, and I parked up at a small rural farm that's the home of the National Ferret School, which does need some explanation. The first question is the National Ferret School a school about ferrets or a school for ferrets? Also, what is a ferret?
So, this is where we keep our ferrets. This is the traditional way of keeping ferrets. We believe the Romans carried ferrets around the world with them because they spread the rabbit. And the only way to get a rabbit, or the best way to get a rabbit out from underground, is to have something chase it out, ergo the ferret. And so people respected them, and they kept them in large enclosures known as courts. And that's exactly what we do now. A ferret
court?
Correct. So we should see a Pavlovian reflex now, because when I come to feed them, I go...
Oh, yeah, hello. Those are ferrets, and James, who runs the ferret school, wrote the book on them. Literally, this is his book. And so the school is both for people to learn ferret handling and care and rearing, and also to train ferrets, because it turns out they can be very useful creatures and not just for hunting rabbits. So ferrets are, I'm going to get my terminology wrong here, mustelids?
They are indeed. And ferrets are domesticated European polecats.
Right.
So many domesticated ferrets have been released into the wild over the years.
Oh, that they've crossbred?
Correct.
Right.
But either way, they're the same animal. And the more I see of wild polecats, the more certain I am that these are them.
Did that one just sneeze?
Yes.
My apologies, I was not able to put a microphone on a sneezing ferret.
And I don't know how queasy your viewers are, but we feed these complete carcasses.
Right,
so
okay.
At whatever stage in the day, I can throw one in and then you'll see furry locusts descend on them and the carcasses disappear. And you see the soul coming out of bed, look.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to show the ferret feeding frenzy. But I did have one concern before going into the shed, and to explain why I wasn't going to be handling the ferrets, I need to make a call back to 1977.
Ow, ow, ow. I'm sorry.
Ow! Richard Whiteley, legendary Yorkshire news anchor and interviewer, host of game show Countdown for more than 20 years, joked that when he died, his obituary would read...
Ferret man died.
The clip of him being bitten by a ferret on his talk show got played around the world, often with a big audience laugh added over it, and it seems like a bit of harmless fun. But despite the laughter of the crew, the man's clearly in a lot of pain.
It's all right, let it go. Put it on the floor, it won't hurt you. It is hurting me.
It was rushed out. It's an emergency centre, complete blood transfusion, intravenous antibiotics for about 3 weeks, but thank God the ferret made a complete recovery.
Oh, I fell for that completely. I'm assured that the ferret was fine, and so was Richard Whiteley, but not wanting to end up with the same fate, I let James handle the ferrets.
Oh. In you come. Come on, in you come. In you come. Come on.
Whoop. Hello. Whoop.
You want to come in?
Yep. I don't want to stand on a ferret. I imagine they're smart enough to get out of the way of
No.
my feet. Oh, they're not. Okay.
They'll go under your feet to see what the underneath of your feet look like.
Hello? Oh,
I
hi.
would think you would pick up the aroma.
Yes, a little bit.
Okay, but there are 20 ferrets in here.
There's going to be a bit of laughter from me behind the camera because there were ferrets trying to climb up my trouser leg. Thankfully, only the outside of my trouser leg.
The specific name for these is Mustela putorius furrow.
Uh-huh.
Mustela is a weasel.
Yes.
Putorius is where we get the word putrid, very smelly.
Oh, okay.
And furrow is a thief.
Sorry.
So these guys are technically called thieving, smelly weasels.
Incredible. And that, I presume, is their bedroom?
That's the nest box, yes.
Right. I'm smiling a lot here, but also, they are trying to climb up my leg.
Yes. Well, thing about ferrets, and this is what we utilise, is that they are nosy. So when you're doing the research for this, you are ferreting out the information.
Yes, I was.
Ferrets always want to know what is in there, what is up there, what is through there, what's around that corner. That's what they do. So 20 ferrets, if I had 20 sheep, it would be a flock, 20 cows, a herd. 20 ferrets, it's a business.
Oh.
Because as soon as you put a couple together, they start ferreting around, doing their business.
Right. Oh, yes, hello. They've discovered the camera. I'm working on this something. These are working animals, and in the same way that a farmer does not name individual sheep in a flock, You do not name individual ferrets here?
No, but what we do is we implant a chip under the skin, and we can scan that, and we keep all the records on computer.
So are you breeding them?
They do that on their own, but we supervise it, yes.
Sorry. Someone is very, very interested in my genes here. Hello? Yes. Hi.
Vet once described ferrets as short-legged cats with attitude.
Yeah, I can
I
believe
think that is the perfect description.
A juvenile ferret, like all of the ones in that court, is called a kit. The males are Hobbs and the females Jills. How to tell those apart?
And the easiest way to tell is to look at the size of the head. The Jills, the females, have a nice slender head like this one. But if you look at that guy, big broad head, that's a Hob. The Hobbs can be twice the size of the Jills.
So at some point, they're going to be old enough and you'll have to separate them out.
Well, these are just these years. These are just about 3-4 months old. By this time next year, all the Hobbs will be living separately, except when they're doing their duties.
Aside from the obvious, though, those ferrets have other duties, one of which is to chase out rabbits from their warrens by diving down into the rabbit holes. Rabbits are considered a major agricultural pest, and unpleasant as it might be, under English law, almost all landowners are required to kill any wild rabbits living on their land. In practice, that's not happening everywhere. It's not really enforced, but certainly farmers would appreciate not having to put down poison when other options are available. But that's not the job we're talking about here. There are other reasons to send ferrets ferreting around, and training them turns out to not be that difficult.
And what I will do when we start using them for rabbiting later in the year is take an adult out and put a youngster at its heel, and then it follows through and it learns from its elder in the same way that most animals do. It's how they train foxhounds. They couple them together. So they literally learn the ropes. But other than that, the main training is handling them because one of the first questions I get asked when I talk about ferrets is, do they bite? They have teeth. They are capable. I have a very strange allergy. And my doctor's warned me about it. I'm allergic to pain. Sound pain hurts me.
Same. I've got that.
So I avoid that. So we start handling them at 4 weeks. Their eyes start to open about 4.5 weeks. There is this big pink thing coming down out of the sky, and they learn quickly that this is not going to hurt them, quite the opposite. Then they don't bite. And then we start doing the Pavlovian bit of conditioning them that a certain noise means good things, food.
One of those is really trying to get into your shoe there.
Yes, I get through a lot of boots doing this job, yes. They love climbing. And all we try to do in here, this, if you like, this is their training ground. So we've got pipes, we've got branches, we've got all this substrate here that they can dig through, and they just learn to do all the different things. It keeps them fit and healthy, and no matter how hot or cold it is, somewhere in here is the right temperature for them. So in the cold, they can go into the bed, a nest box. In the winter, we stuff that full of barley straw. If there's too much, they drag it out. If it looks like it's getting colder, I will put some more in, and they will take it in.
There's a lot of rattling coming from inside this pipe just here. And I assume at some point, careful with the feet.
No, it's coming back down.
Oh, it's coming back down, okay. My camera was jumping around there because the ferret was turning around back and forth inside a piece of tubing that was about the width of the ferret, which seems like it shouldn't be possible for a creature with a spine.
They have articulated vertebrae, bony backbone.
Oh.
So we all think that we're fit if we can touch our toes. Some people are double jointed and can sit with a chin on the bottom like that. But what none of us can do is put our left ear on our left ankle like that.
Oh.
Or our right ear on our right ankle like that. And if that was hurting her at all, she would let me know.
That's a very unbothered ferret there.
There you go. And over the years, I've learnt tricks myself, but also most of this comes from Graham, the gamekeeper, who taught me a lot. And so he always said, if you pick up a ferret that's a bit uptight, maybe it's just come out of a warren and it's had a fight with a rat or something down there, then all you do is hold it like this and then swing it and thread it through your hands like this. And you can see just how relaxed it goes. And if I do that a few times...
To be clear, the ferret is okay with that, right?
Well, that's just... Look. And he just mesmerises them, literally. And some will stay like this for 5 or 10 minutes, some for a few seconds. And if the wind's blowing, they come out of it much quicker. But it just works. And I've never, ever had any where it doesn't work.
Wow. Yeah, that's a slightly sleepy ferret.
But now look, she's up and off again.
Yeah. So
Don't know if your microphone's picking that up.
there's some noise, certainly. What's that noise?
That's the noise that they make.
Right.
Yeah. They make that when they're interested,
Yep.
when they're unsure, and when they're excited. But when they're excited, it's called duking, and they bounce around on all fours and make this silly noise, and the head goes backwards and forwards, and the mouth opens. And a lot of people seeing that think the ferret is about to kill you and rip you to pieces or something.
Right.
It's just having a whale of a time.
Yeah.
Here you go for climbing.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah, happily.
So
Happily
she's
6 feet up.
yep, no problem whatsoever. Oh, she's taking the civilised way down. Normally, they simply let go.
Yep.
They bounce very well. And at the moment, we've got this, and again...
Oh, you were right. There goes. Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you. I'm just being very careful with my feet. Going to go and recover my camera. Well, now, the trouble is there is now a ferret in the way of my camera. There we go. Look. I'm going to just remove myself from this cloud of ferrets here. That's the ferrets. The next question is, what can you do with them? What can you do with ferrets other than flush out rabbits? Well, one thing about humans is we often build underground infrastructure, narrow pipes that carry cables or stuff, which is all well and good until there's a problem somewhere inside one of those pipes and you need to dig all of it up to find the problem. It'd be really useful if you could locate where exactly you needed to dig first. Although, while we were going to set that demonstration up, James told me something that sent me off on a research tangent, and it's fascinating, and I just have to cover this first.
If you turn to the Old Testament, the book of Leviticus, that's where God lists things that you can do and you can't do. And there is a list of animals that you're not allowed to eat. Ferrets are featured on them, which means they were common.
James is right. Ferrets are mentioned in the King James Bible, Leviticus 11:30, and the ferret and the chameleon and the lizard and the snail and the mole, those are unclean to you. But that's the King James Bible, a staple of the Church of England and some Protestant denominations. And I'm not a theologian, but from what I've looked up, ferret in there is almost certainly a mistranslation. The original word is anaca, and modern translators are pretty sure that that means a type of lizard or gecko, which would have been a really common creature for that time and place. But that's not certain, because the original isn't in Hebrew, it's in biblical Hebrew. And I tried to find an English analogy for how old that is, but there isn't one, because even Old English wouldn't exist for 1,000 years at that point. So when the King James Bible was translated, in England, in the 17th century, those scholars who were mostly going off other earlier translations and who'd never probably even heard of a gecko, let alone seen one, they picked ferret, which doesn't tell us much about the author's original intentions, but it does tell us something about ferrets in the 17th century. It means they were so well known that they were used as a point of reference in the English version of the Bible.
You couldn't eat them, so the only reason we would keep them would be for work. And so they hunt with them exactly as we do.
Anyway, James and I, okay, mostly James, but James and I set up a course for a ferret. Oh, do you want a hand with that?
Yes, if you grab that and just walk slowly.
I see it.
Problem with this stuff is it's a pain in the backside to do anything with.
Oh, that's a huge amount of corrugated pipe.
It's like fighting an octopus.
That's a tiny square pipe. They'll go through that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for escape, that, isn't it? I put them in the wrong order there.
Don't worry. I don't know how tightly this will fit in, they might just clamber around it.
That's what I was thinking.
No, that should work.
That'll do it.
Yep. And then we can do...
And then catch them at the other end. Oh, wait, what? I'm sorry. A ferret is in this pipe already.
Is it really?
Yes. Someone's just poked their head out here. Hello.
What are you doing, girlie? Hey? Come on, then. Come on. She's going to be slightly concerned now because...
Yes, she is. I'll hold very still.
Come on. Come on. Ah, you little devil.
It's not like...
Just a bit further. Thank you.
And it's not like you could shake the pipe to get the ferret out.
No.
Because the ferret can climb.
Just keep your eye on it in case there's
another one in there. We had a pipe for the ferret to go through, and that ferret's first job would be to see if the pipe is blocked, and if so, where. But if the ferret's deep underground, how can you tell where the blockage is?
This is the telemetry,
Right.
and they wear this. This is shaped so it fits under the chin and
Yep.
doesn't catch on anything, which is important. This has various controls on, but basically,
Oh,
and you should be able to see all the lights.
it's called the Ferret Finder. The Ferret Finder version 3 as well.
Indeed. And if I move it away, name that tune.
That's delightful. I think that might be the most surreal thing that's happened on this road trip so far.
No matter how often they have these on, they love to make it as difficult as possible for me. So we put it round, and they don't have a neck. And as you put it on, you think that's tight enough. Immediately you let go, they get out of it.
Right.
So you usually put it onto the
that
next
looks
one.
really tight, but that's all
It does.
fur, isn't it?
It is indeed.
That's fluff.
So there we go. So if I leave this here,
Oh, yes, good point.
let me turn that.
Oh, you've got sensitivity calculation on it, right.
There you go. So
Okay.
you should hear it when it goes past there
Okay,
now.
so we've got all the way up there and back. How fast is a ferret? Turns out very fast, as long as there isn't a big camera-holding maroon and blue blob that looks like a predator in their line of sight.
Ready? So she's past that.
Oh, that was
Continuing.
fast. Hello.
She's here, look. This will be interesting because she can see out and she's not used to doing this.
No, doesn't like it. Oh. You're right, she doesn't like that. The ferret looked at me, looked at my camera, and then promptly went back to the start, something we only knew when the ferret finder beeped again. She's gone back.
Heard it.
Decided did not like the clear pipe there, that's fair enough.
Let's try her again. Go.
I'll stay behind this time in case my presence was putting her off. So fast! It was me standing there.
And then a tiny pipe.
That's I've got no idea where. No, you've got a bottle of something there.
This is salmon oil. This is their treat. They trade the granny for this.
Hello?
Good girl. Come on then. Good girl. What's this? Oh. So, clicking.
Yep.
That just tells her you've done well.
Yeah.
And the reward is the oil. We don't give them lots of it, otherwise it tends to not be such a treat.
Right.
But I think she's done a really good job there this
With a
morning.
completely new layout.
Indeed.
With clear bits in it and some idiot looming over her with a camera. Yeah, that's a pretty good job.
And she's never run through the clear bits before.
So the pipe is not blocked, but there is a second use for ferrets and industrial pipes. Sure, there are robots you can send in to do that sort of investigation. You could send a snaking camera down there or just an automated crawler. But as I'll show you in a bit, the ferret's probably better at the job, and it's also probably better at pulling cables. What if you already have the underground pipe and you want to put a new piece of cable through it?
High-vis vest.
Ferret harness! It's a high-vis vest for a ferret!
There you go. And again, probably try to make it as difficult for me as you can, because that's what they do. We fit it on. Oops.
You've had some experience with that, haven't you? That was smooth.
Around there, fasten it up as tightly as we can. And again, you have to remember that these guys can breathe in, are very supple, and although you might think I'm putting that on too tightly, I can guarantee she'll get out of it if you don't. So she has a line on the end. This is a Heath Robinson device I've knocked up that feeds it out without it tangling.
We made the run a bit simpler for this because the corrugated pipe wasn't quite wide enough to fit my camera down. And so the plan is the ferret pulls the string. We attach the string to the camera, we send the camera back down for a ferret's eye view for the final shot. Oh, she's moving. Because that's how cable pulling works. The ferret can't carry a camera, but it can pull a string. And this is a real thing that happens to run cables, including, famously, for the TV coverage of the wedding of Charles and Diana. Hello? Nope. Didn't like the, I think she didn't like me there. That might have been me. There she goes. Yep, I need to learn to stay back with this. That string, once it's through, can be used to pull a bigger string and a bigger cable and so on and so on and so on until the cable you want is through the pipe. And there she is.
Hello.
Why not just use a robot or a simple machine? Well, granted, my camera on a stick is not a particularly intelligent device, but if you want a perfect demonstration of why ferrets are still used for this, let's just say running the camera through didn't exactly go smoothly. So, ferret ran the cable. Cable attached to stick. Stick attached to camera. Ferret's eye view whenever you're ready. Okay, go. It was a valiant effort. Hang on. Try that. Turns out there are many things where 4 legs might still be the best way to do it. Well, it wasn't one smooth run. No. We got the job done.
Yeah, I'm amazing.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Next time, or right now on Nebula, an ancient ritual shrouded in mystery, where I end up in just a little bit of pain. That's not clickbait, it's actually a mysterious ancient ritual.